Hey, and welcome back to another episode of Eight Rice Up. I'm your host, Ryan Rice, and this is my beautiful wife, Maida.
Hello, and this is episode 9. We
Yeah.
actually have a special guest. Her name is
Nic-
Nicole Simone.
Yeah.
Nicole, can you tell us? Well, no, actually, Ryan,
We want to do a little
we
background on
want
you
to do
real
a little
quick.
background. Hold on one second.
Yeah, so Nicole Simone is a grief coach. Very, very cool. The reason she became a grief coach is because about 10 years ago, her father passed away. She was 24 years old, and since then she's gotten married, had to go through getting married without a dad, and then she's raised her children without them knowing her dad. And it's definitely been something interwoven throughout her life. And so she recently pivoted really hard in her career to help people get through grieving, and now she's a grief coach. So very excited to have you here, Nicole,
All the way from
all the
Massachusetts,
way.
right?
Yes, yes. Thank you for having me, guys.
Yeah. So Nicole, define for us real quick, what is a grief coach?
So, yeah, a grief coach is a person that will help you really move forward on your grief journey. I think that as someone that's experienced grief, we feel stuck and unable to move through our emotions and move through our life. So, it's a person that's going to just help you. We're here to guide you. We're not professional therapists by any means, but we are a guide. Someone that's for me, I've been in the shoes before, and we're going to move you forward. We're gonna set up some goals. We're going to use tools, and we're gonna just like keep you moving forward. And yeah, just kind of get you unstuck and get you to a place of peace. That's kind of like my little shtick is I found my place of peace. I've walked this pathway, so now I want to walk others through this pathway and show you that you can embrace meaning and purpose in your life again and to really understand all the grieving emotions that you'll be experiencing along the way and just teach you to also keep that grief with you because it's not going to go anywhere, but we can do it in healthy ways. So that's
Kind of
what grief coaching is to me.
Okay, so Nicole, you said that you started writing a week after your dad passed away as a way to relieve all or release all of your emotions. How did that help you?
It definitely got the anger off of my chest, like, quite a bit. Like, anger was my sole emotion for a while, and it was just yeah, it was a release for me. It was very, very healing. It was like my own form of therapy. I did do talk therapy in the beginning, but I just felt like I was able to better express myself. I've always been very good at expressing myself with the written word for some reason. It's so, like, whatever's on my heart, I'm able to get onto pen and paper pretty well. So, it was really truthfully, I call it like a brain dump, right? I was just really like dumping everything out of my brain. So it didn't even have to be poetic or anything. I was just like, I'm pissed. Like, where are you? Like, I'm so mad that you died. Like, it was not pretty in the beginning.
Mhm.
But I just, yeah, I really truly can't recommend writing enough, for anybody going through grief. I am very excited to use it in my coaching practice because the healing, capabilities are endless.
I really like that because when my husband passed away, I felt like I just wanted to run away. And I wanted to run away with nowhere to go. I don't know where I wanted to go. And I felt like if I talked to somebody, they were not going to understand me because they had no idea what I was feeling. And on top of that, I was pregnant at the time. And so I had all the emotions from the pregnancy, all the emotions from grieving because my husband passed away unexpectedly during COVID, and I I had a lot of anxiety, and I wish I would have done that, like just writing all my emotions out. I know my son, he was 12 at the time, and what he started doing when I took him to therapy is that he started saying all these bad words, and the therapist told me, yeah, that's a way to just get it all out. But I was one of those that just I kept it all in, and I think it in the long term, it has affected me because I never went through that tunnel. I never let it out. I never Right? I felt so guilty that I never got to say goodbye to him, or I never told him, "Hey, you know what? I love you," because I thought the last time I saw him and he was awake, I thought I was going to see him again. So
Yeah,
it's really hard.
yeah. Yep, that is hard. Thank you for sharing that. Yes, it's I know there's a at the time though, when you're going through it, you don't know what's going to help you, right? You're just like
right.
you'll try anything. Like you're just not sure. how to do it. You just do the best you can, especially in those first few years, you're just like just trying to survive, you know?
Right. And I think my therapist did tell me, because I started therapy as well, and she told me something like write a journal, but I didn't know. I felt kind of stupid writing. I just, I don't know. For me, I'm like, what am I going to write about? But if I would have known, maybe she would have given me more instruction on write like you're talking to him. That would have been different,
Right.
right? That would have been like a big game changer for me.
And I think a big part of journaling or writing out your emotions is, yeah, you're not talking to somebody that may not understand or will misunderstand. You're able to just verbalize or at least, write that down. If you're writing it physically, it's kinesthetic, right? Or if you're typing it, it's emotion, and that
Mm,
helps, right, create emotion. And so, yeah, just getting it out in some way, it's extremely helpful. Because if you're just bottling it in and you're like, oh, I feel all these things, but I can't share it with anybody, then
yeah.
they stay inside. And again, like Nicole was saying, she helps people get unstuck, right? That's
I was so
you
stuck,
get
and
stuck,
I was worried that somebody would see it.
right?
For some reason, I was worried about what are people gonna see if they see this. I wasn't writing for others. I was writing for myself, right? That's what a journal is, right? It's not to share it, or maybe I don't know. In my family, we have been thinking about journals for generations. They're like, oh, this is something that your generation is gonna have, is gonna be able to help them when they're going through something hard. And so I'm like, I can't write all these feelings that I have, but I never thought about it that way, and I think that's really cool for people that are new to grieving.
Hmm.
That it's okay that you can write all of your emotions, and it's not for the people to see, but it's for you, for yourself.
Right. Well, and Nicole, going back to kind of your story there, when your dad passed away, right? You were in the middle of a master's or just starting the master's program, right? And that's got to be difficult because you're going through, everybody else is happy, everybody else's life is fine, and you're like, my world just ended. Like, how dare you all be happy? You know what I mean? Uh, And so,
Absolutely. Oh
how do you
gosh,
deal with
yes.
that?
That fueled the anger like a lot. And the master's program, it was something that I knew my dad was excited about for me to
Mhm.
do to further my career. So that was a big push, right? I'm going to go do this. I'm going to do it for him,
Right.
and I'm going to do it for myself. I was actually excited. I was excited to start it, but very, very deep in grief. Like definitely a mess. I was a very big mess the first few years of his loss. But I went in there and I gave it all I got, but I really kind of just quickly realized that it wasn't the right path for me, and I had a bit of like an existential crisis the only semester that I did. Yeah, everybody else was like all excited about the material, and I was like, "What? No, no! Like my world just like ended. Like, what is the meaning of life? Why are we all here? Like, I'm meant to do something different, something bigger." Yeah, so it was a very tough year for me.
No, no, and I can totally relate. When my wife died, I got really pissed at everything, right? Like, how dare the sun come up? Like, or you look outside and everybody else's world is fine. Like, they're going to work. And I'm like, really? You're going to work? Like, the world should stop because mine did. And yeah, you're in all of these emotions, and how do you get unstuck there? Like, I know you wrote a little bit, right? You were writing out your emotions, but how do you get out of that existential crisis where you say, well, what's the purpose of this? Like, if we all die, what does it matter? Why do I go to school? Why go to work? Why we're going to pass away anyway? What does it matter? Right? How do you get unstuck there?
Ooh, that's a great question. I wish I'd have told my younger self the answer to that. Truthfully, I mean, what I did was I dropped out of the master's program.
Hmm.
And I'm not even afraid to talk about this stuff, but yeah, I'm not like I'm not a quitter in anything, but that was a big, I was ready to just take a step out of it. But that was the first move, was realizing that that wasn't for me and I needed to leave. But truthfully, what I did after that though is I robotically got through those next few years. I stayed in my corporate jobs. I got up and it was like, lather, rinse, repeat. I really just like, I got up, I went to work, I came home, I had dinner, I worked out. I still lived at home with my mom for a bit after he passed away. So the two of us really just we just like huddled together and got through it, her and I. She's so just exponential in getting me through it. But really, it was robotic. That's how I got unstuck. I kept doing therapy, and eventually I got kind of like sick of my own like grief. I wanted to get unstuck, so I did things like I joined like grief group therapy. I did this like 10-week program, and it was like very intensive. Like we had workbooks, like it was a bunch of it was really great for me. Just other things like I joined a kickboxing gym.
Mhm.
I started doing all kinds of things to really get myself out of that stuckness and that funk. But it was hard. It was as I'm sure both of you know, it's very hard to get yourself on. But I tried a lot of different things.
No.
It is extremely hard. I mean, I remember because I was 6 months pregnant when my husband died, and I didn't want to give birth. I wanted to stay pregnant because I was like, if he's not here,
Oh,
why am I going to give birth? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, how am I going to do this by myself? And at the same time, I was feeling in that moment or making decisions, and thankfully I did not make any this crazy decisions, but I was like, why am I going to bring this kid to a an incomplete family that it's a mess right now and we're all heartbroken? And I was thinking for a moment that I was going to give my baby for adoption just because I didn't want to bring him to a family that was broken, you know.
Mhm.
And thankfully I did not do that. He's the one that looks like my husband the most, and
oh,
such a huge blessing. But you do get like that. You don't want things, you don't want life moving on. I remember he died in the winter, and when the spring came and the flowers were blooming, I'm like, this shouldn't be happening. Or when the summer came, I was so angry that it was summer or fall or Thanksgiving, like the first of everything. I didn't want to do anything because he was not there. Right. So it is extremely hard. And for me, I stayed home. I did not continue doing anything. And I was doing a master's program as well, when he died. And I called the school and I'm like, I can't do this. I can't do any of this right now. And took about what was it, like a year break that
Mhm.
I took. And I still did not wasn't able to finish it just because it's hard. It's hard. It's something that we were both excited for, and I feel like my life changed 180 degrees.
Yeah.
Your life, your goals, everything just changed, right? I
Yeah.
don't know if it was like that for you. I know you kept working,
Yeah,
but
because yeah, for me, I went 100% logical, and I'm like, I'm a machine, I can do this. So, like, really, you're just like, let's go. So I went back to work, and I'm like, I'm just like, I was a robot, right? I go to
yeah,
work, come home, you go stare at the wall, and you're like, you can't even process it, right? You just blank, and then you always you go out, do physical motion, right? Go join a gym, go do something because
yeah,
motion creates emotion.
right. And you
yeah,
used to beat up
exactly.
yourself. You used to beat up yourself at the
Oh
gym
yeah,
too.
I used to go for hours, like super late at night, be there till 2 in the morning, and I come home and I'm like, I feel terrible. But like it wasn't depression.
I I struggled a lot with insomnia. I don't know if you did, or you, Nicole, you struggled with insomnia when at the early beginnings of this, right?
Mhm.
But on top of that, I had a newborn that I was breastfeeding,
Right.
and I just remember that I was okay him waking up in the middle of the night because I didn't sleep anyway. But I do not remember like the first year of my baby's life. I don't remember because I was a robot
You were
too.
Mhm.
grieving. Yeah, and you were grieving. I can't
Yeah.
imagine, truthfully, like I do think about that. I know people that have like both of you that have lost somebody with having little kids. Like
Mhm.
I can't imagine that. And being pregnant now that I've got two babies of my own, I can't even imagine that. Like much just the utmost respect and condolences to both of you for going through that. And because I always kind of think of my own experience. I could be selfish, right? Like I was 24, I wasn't married, I didn't have kids. Like I could selfishly grieve if that's even a phrase, but you have kids of your own and you have to get up for them. Like I can't imagine. It's a very different experience altogether, truthfully.
Yeah. Well, and with you, because with us, we had to get out of bed. right? We had to take care of the
Yes,
kids.
we had no option
With
now.
you, I think you had the option to completely shut down, hide in your mom's house, and be like, I'm never going out again, ever,
Yeah.
right? Uh,
Yeah.
what
True.
what pulled you out of that? Because like that could be very, very destructive.
Oh, yeah, and you know what was? I mean, I won't lie, I definitely didn't grieve, I won't say that there's no right or wrong way, but, on the weekends, I drank heavily on the weekends, I was also on prescription medications, like, so and I don't shy away from talking about that. It's a part of my journey. I did that, on weekends, but during the week, I worked. You know what? I'll give my mom full credit for why I was able to move the way that I did. My mom is an amazing, amazing human. She lost her soulmate. My parents were married for 33 years. They had a beautiful marriage. It was like I just think the most tragic loss was their marriage ending, truthfully. Everybody just loved my parents' story and they just had a beautiful love. But my mom has such a positive attitude. She is just infused with such gratitude and just a good attitude. She was always, like, trying to find the silver linings and trying to teach me to be grateful for things even though our life just got blown up. So my mom, I will give her full credit for why I was able to get up and move, 'cause yeah, we were living together and we just got each other through. She needed my help too. We kind
Mhm.
of leaned on each other, but she's the reason why.
That's beautiful. The three big things I'm
Yeah.
hearing of how to deal with grief so far is um, journal, write down your emotions, get them out somehow, right? Don't hold it
Yep.
in. Get physical exercise, go out, motion creates emotion, and then surround
Yep.
yourself with people that love you and want the best for you, right? In your case, it was your
Mhm.
mom helping you through this process. I think that's wonderful. And then going through communities, and you said you went to you did a course on grieving and stuff, and yeah, just
Yep.
surrounding yourself with people that can understand you and you can relate to.
Right.
Yeah.
I love how awake you are
Hmm.
and how you're telling me or telling us, right? I did this, I did that, the bad and the good and whatever, and how genuine you are, because this will help a lot of people. Nobody's perfect, and there's no right or wrong way to grieve. And a lot of people need to understand that, right? That there's no limitations when it
Right.
comes to grieving. And I just love how genuine you are and how you are telling us your story and what you did, and how your mom helped you. I love the way that you did not give up. That's amazing. Being as young as you were and living with your mom, because like Ryan says, you did have an option to just stay in bed.
Yeah.
And instead of that, here you are being a grief coach.
Yeah. Right. You're turning your biggest pain into one of your biggest successes. I think that's beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, I know looking back, I mean, I didn't feel like patting myself on the back quite then because I didn't think I was, doing a good job. But yeah, I mean, just to you're right, anybody, right? To yeah, get out of bed. It's like you said, you want the world to stop.
Mhm.
You feel like the world is going to literally swallow you whole. And the world was continuing on. I had friends that were, going to get married, moving in with their boyfriends, and, like, then getting just starting their lives, and I felt like it was a failure. I was like, "Well, I'm just stuck living at my mom's house, and I'm grieving, and I'm sad, and I'm drinking too much, and this and that," but, yeah, I don't know, you get through it, and, like, yeah, you really have to grasp the people in your life, like, I had an amazing support system. I have to just give a shout out to everybody in my life on that, like, my friends, our family, like, we just had such love around us, whether they understood grief or not, they were there for us, and those are the people too that got me out of bed, but, at the end of the day too, I think it is up to you to get out of bed, like, it's as much it doesn't matter the support system, like, I struggled so much too, right? So it's like that pressure, I felt that pressure of, like, no matter the amazing people that were around me, it was gonna be up to me to make this journey, like, a positive one, and that weight kind of crushed me for a while, but then in the end, I guess I could say I came out on top, if you will.
Right. No, I think it's amazing. And I want to ask you, Nicole, so it was 10 years ago that your dad passed away. Is that correct?
Yes, yep.
So if you could see yourself, if you could go back in the past and knowing what you know now, what would you tell yourself 10 years ago, knowing what you know now?
Ooh, that's a great question, and I actually wrote myself a letter. I wrote my younger self a letter. That was a part of my therapeutic writing, and I put that up on my blog. But it's a great question. I would tell her this is gonna be tough. Like this is gonna be the hardest thing that she will ever have to like claw her way out of. But she's going to be shocked at her strength and resilience to get through it, and that she should really lean on the healthy coping mechanisms like writing and talking, but that she's gonna get through this and she's going to go on and get married and have kids someday, which is something I wasn't really sure I would do after he had died. And I would just tell her it's gonna be okay. You're gonna have a beautiful life, and it's all gonna be okay. But you got to do the work. You got to do the work.
That's
That's
awesome.
awesome.
I know you've spoken on stage and right, you're hitting this. You're a grief coach and you're getting clientele. What's the what's the main thing you want people to know about grief?
Wow, what don't I want them to know about grief? I really, as I'm sure both of you, that's why you have this platform, right? Like I
Mhm.
want to educate people on it. I want more people to understand grief. I want grief to have a seat at the table. And I think a lot of people think it's taboo and it's sad. It's not, but I want people to understand that everyone's going to grieve. Like, we all love people and we're all going to lose people, and we need to understand how to survive this and thrive and go on living. So I want people to understand that you can get through it, and you can also experience. This was a big thing for me, was understanding you can experience joy and grief simultaneously.
Yep.
I want people to know that you can do both of those things, right? Like you can still carry the grief with you but live a beautiful and meaningful life at the same time. So that's kind of like my big message.
That's beautiful. And I know, I imagine when you got married, it was a bittersweet moment, right? It was one of those, oh, this is amazing, but my dad's not here, right?
Yes. Oh, yeah. That was, I could that's I have a lot to unpack with that one, and I've done a lot of writing on the wedding. That was, I didn't really wanna get married. I was like, "Why would I get married if he's not gonna be there?" All those father-daughter moments at a wedding. I actually walked by myself down the aisle because that was his spot. My mom kinda picked me up at the end, dance with my grandfather for the song. My mom gave the speech at the wedding. There was, and I had photos of him. Like we brought him into the day like so much. My garter was made out his tie. There was just a lot of moments that I kept him there. But yeah, I just almost didn't want that moment to happen. I was like, no, absolutely not. But it was a beautiful day, and I was able to feel the joy, and that was, I think, my first moment of being like, "Huh, I can be happy and I can grieve." And that was
Hmm.
really like when I unpacked that day, that was really the message, was you can hold space for both of those things.
That's beautiful. That's
Yeah,
beautiful.
that's amazing. It's funny how we get nervous and we don't want to go through that tunnel, right? And then once you go through it, you go like, "Oh, it was better than what I thought it would be."
Yeah.
Yes, exactly, exactly. Yeah, I thought it would be this gaping hole, like everyone would just see the glaring grief on me or feel it in
Hmm.
the room, but I think everybody felt the joy, and they
Hmm.
felt my dad's presence. I felt my dad's presence, and
Yes, I
and that was
bet.
kind of beautiful too.
Awesome.
Uh,
Well, Nicole, this has been absolutely fantastic. We've loved having you on. Where can people find you on social media to follow you and go through your writings and connect?
Yeah, right now it's just my Instagram. It's just I think it's Nicole Scimone underscore. That right now it's just Instagram. I'm working on building a website, and that's going to be where people can find me soon. So,
Perfect. And then for grief coaching, I know you're Massachusetts, but do you do that virtually as well?
oh yes, it's all virtual right now. Yep. So we
Perfect.
can do it through Zoom. Yep.
Awesome. So if anybody wants to reach out, that's how.
Reach out to Nicole if you have lost a parent, right? There's a lot of different people that have lost, like us,
Mhm.
spouses, parents, siblings, kids. Um, I'm very sure that there's a lot of people that can totally relate with you, and uh, no matter who they have lost, but especially if it's a parent. I mean, that's a big deal. So for those of you, if you're looking for a grief coach, here you got Nicole, and she will definitely help you. I think you're amazing, an amazing example to everybody. Is there one last thing that you want to say to anybody that's very, very new to grieving?
Ooh, oh man. Yeah, I mean, I just would love to tell someone that you're gonna get through it. Like you're going to get through it. You're gonna find the path forward. It may seem daunting, but there is a pathway to get you to a life of peace and live a life of meaning and to live in honor of your person as well. So it's possible. I just want people to know that it's possible to heal and to move forward. Yeah.
Very beautiful. One step at a time.
Yeah.
Yes, one step at a time, yes.
Yeah. Very nice. Well, thank you so much for being on our podcast. This has been an episode of Eight Rice Up, and we will catch you on the next one.
We'll see ya.
Thank you, guys.